Is this all working now? Are we on the same URL? It doesn't seem like we are, maybe. Yeah, I'm highly confused. Give me a moment. Yeah, this one actually works. Okay, so let me post that one in the in Discord real quickly, and then we can actually start. So delete that one, and then add everyone. Link messed up. Let's try again. Hopefully this one will work. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I can't see my... like... Hello, okay, so you found it, Angel. That's very good. Because I saw Dominic in the other chat of the previous link, and I don't think this is not the same link. It's a different link. Can I just go to my live dashboard and... yeah. Okay. I think I've got it. Live now. Am I dropping frames? Because I'm also uploading a video. I need to know if I can upload and stream at the same time. It looks like I can. I mean, I set it to 6:20 my time because this video I'm uploading still is taking 4 more minutes, and then I was like, let's have a little bit buffer. And I'm also uploading videos to my Google Drive at the same time and live streaming, and apparently I can take that with my internet connection, which is highly unusual, but also very good. So we're gonna get started here today. Look, Angel at least has all his notifications on. That's how you do this shit. So we have... I lost the Nuzlocke last time. I don't know if anybody remembers. We have Chocolate, Soulballs, Yuki, Dominic, Subpar, and Snowball on the team, and they're all wildly different levels. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the next couple of battles, and then we're going to do a little bit of grinding to start out the stream. And the grinding will probably take up quite a bit. Then we're going to go to the 3rd gym, and hopefully we will make it to the 4th gym today as well. We're going to have 2 full hours, unless I don't feel well before that, which is very likely. I still have a little bit of like a swollen throat. I have a cold. So that might actually happen. I might stop earlier. Maybe not, we'll see how things go, but we have about 2 hours before today's showdown episode goes up, and I think that's Purloin's first episode, isn't it? I don't know, I'm a couple of episodes ahead on Scoreboard as well now, so I don't know which Pokemon are still on the team and which ones are getting eliminated when. I just know that it's Sunday, so it's a Scoreboard day! Okay, we don't really have to worry about things dying anymore. I still want to... oh, fuck. I also cut myself in the hands, and specifically the fingers, 3 times within 2 days. And my hands hurt a lot as a result of that, which, I mean, go figure. But yeah, so if I touch my finger... well, not if I touch it. I mean, if I touch it, it hurts a little bit, stings a little bit, but if I rub it on anything, especially something like rough, like jeans, it hurts like a bitch. So that's not very good. That being said, this is a very much easier fight now that I'm not paying attention somehow. I don't know how that works. We do have no more Pokemon to name though, which... okay, so there has been a... probably should select the emulator. There's been a How did you manage to do that? How do I manage to do that? Oh, cut myself 3 times within 2 days. Well, I'm not entirely sure about all of the cuts. I am fairly certain I got 2 of the cuts at the same time, though not 100% sure about that. What happened is I was sitting on the floor of my room, and I don't exactly remember why I was sitting on the floor of my room. I remember I was plugging in and out HDMI cords out of my PC because I wanted to cancel my subscription to PlayStation Plus because I've been subscribed to that for a while, and I was like, okay, so this month we have Goat Simulator, which sucks, and the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. It's like, okay, so let's first download that and then just cancel my subscription because I'm paying money for games that I don't play. I own them now, but I haven't played like a single PlayStation Plus game since I've gotten the subscription like 6 months ago. So before that, I needed to plug one of the things out of my computer, one of the HDMIs, into my PlayStation. So for that, I was sitting on the ground, and then when I wanted to get back up, I think I just like brushed past something very sharp with my left thumb and my I can't even find where the other cut is anymore. I had another cut somewhere on my right hand as a result of that. Oh yeah. Scrap that. It's 4 cuts. On my right index finger, I got a cut on both of those. And then they stopped bleeding fairly quickly. And then today I was making myself an omelette before I was going to stream, because it's like, it's a little bit early to have full-on dinner, but I'm still hungry and hadn't had lunch yet, so I figured let's make a very fatty kind of dinner, so that I can make it through the stream, or lunch, I mean. And so I made myself an omelette with the last couple of eggs left, and I put them in a bowl. Well, not a bowl, because I didn't have a bowl left, right? So what I did is I got a one of the bowls with like a little ear on it, where you use sometimes to serve soups. But the ear was a little bit cut off. And I don't know if you've ever had like porcelain or china break and still use it. That shit gets sharp. So I was mixing up my eggs in the bowl, or the soup thing, and then when I went to go set it back down, I apparently my ring finger on my left hand, I just brushed past. No, not brushed. It was a fairly quick and like jarring motion. Otherwise, it wouldn't have cut, and it cut pretty deep as well, into the top of my left ring finger. So that actually bled for like a good 10 to 15 minutes. Not like very much, but it was like I kept like applying toilet paper to it because I couldn't find any band-aids around. I was like, okay, so let's just apply a little bit of pressure and do it with toilet paper so that any blood that comes out gets absorbed into the paper. That makes sense so far, right? But that just kept going for about 15 or so minutes. It stopped bleeding after that, and I threw away the toilet paper, and it's still just stinging now. But then when I was actually making the omelette, I looked at my right index finger, and I saw a little bit of blood on that as well. I was like, okay, so did I just like get blood from my left hand onto my right hand? No, it turns out I have a very minuscule, it's not even a cup really, it's more of a puncture into my right index finger. So I'm thinking I probably just like have very thin skin, and I don't know what kind of dietary changes I would need to make to fix having thin skin. But cutting yourself on your hands 4 times within 2 days, well, that's 2 times, but I cut myself twice every time I cut myself, doesn't seem like something that should happen. So that's the story of how I cut myself. That took way too long to explain. Goat Simulator was fun. Last month games weren't that fun though. What was last month? I don't think I even downloaded last month's games. Last month was... I might not even have checked, to be honest. I don't play on PlayStation like at all. The only things I play on PlayStation are PlayStation exclusives. which is why I was very fond of seeing Uncharted being on there this month, because that's a PlayStation exclusive, and I've always wanted to play those, but I never bothered to get them. And the collection is like $20, which isn't a lot because it's a collection. It's a lot of games in one, but it's like, now I've got it for free, so I'm probably going to play that at some point. And the only other games I play on there are I got Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation 4 when it was released, and it wasn't out on Steam yet. Same with Crash Team Racing, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and I also obviously Kingdom Hearts 3 and upcoming DLC in about a week and a half. Last month PSN was Titanfall 2 and oh yeah, Titanfall. I saw Titanfall 2. I was like, no, I don't really care, to be honest. Okay, so this is where we're going to do the grinding, and we do have the... Is this where we're going to do the grinding? It's probably not where we're going to do the grinding. As a matter of fact, let's go back up and have Dominic get some levels. Can somebody do me a favor and look up what the levels are of the... what am I going to do here? Probably... of the upcoming gym, because I think they're like mid-20s, but I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't really matter that much, because if I lose I can just like repeat, because I don't lose my Pokemon forever, which is a very good thing. But still, I prefer not to have to go through the gym puzzle that many times, because it's about a... I don't know, what was the gym puzzle in Diamond and Pearl? I don't remember. I don't like the gym puzzle though, that's all I know. The gym leader was 24 and 26, so that's mid-20s. So, assuming that I have a super effective Pokemon, which I do, at 22, I might be able to actually just do that, to be honest. Also, I shouldn't forget I have the EXP share. And there's no reason for Subpar to be out against an Onyx. Because of that reason, yeah. That's on me. I wouldn't have done that if this was still a Nuzlocke. Don't worry. Wouldn't have done that. I just wanted to try it out. Onyx is taking these hits very well. Wasn't the puzzle reading signs and answer some math problems? It could be, honestly. I haven't played Diamond or Pearl in forever. Every time I play Sinnoh, I obviously play Platinum. Because why would you... Really, why would you ever play Diamond and Pearl after Platinum was released? I think we've talked about this before in the live streams, in this specific series. But there's no reason to play Diamond or Pearl over Platinum. There's no reason for any... Well, Red and Blue. Playing Red and Blue over Yellow, I can see. Playing Gold and Silver over Crystal. Not really, honestly. There doesn't really seem to be a good reason for that. Other than maybe just like nostalgia and you got used to those games. But that's not a valid reason. So, yeah, Crystal is definitely the definitive version there. And then you've got... Emerald, which is definitely just better than Ruby and Sapphire, and then you've got Platinum, and after that they dropped the whole third version. So always when you play a generation, other than in Gen 1, third version is the way to go. So long story short, I haven't played Diamond or Pearl in probably, well, since the last attempt of Pokemon through the years. There we did play Diamond and Pearl, which probably at this point is like 4 years ago. Hello, how are you doing? I still don't... I mean, I refer to you a lot in like text version. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it Konu? Koinu? Please enlighten me. Because every time I type it, I'm like, how do I pronounce this? I am very confused. I'm a confused little toad now. To be honest, I probably would have been reading chat and made a massive mistake either way. You are right about that, but we don't need to, like... We don't need to let everybody know that I'm stupid. I'd like to keep up appearances that I'm actually, like, somewhat clever, even though I'm not. But that's the whole reason that I've lost. Well, it's part of the reason. The other half of the reason is this is very difficult because this is a monotype run. You shouldn't Nuzlocke monotype runs. But the other half of the reason that I lost so early on is pretty much because I wasn't paying attention to the game half the time. Yeah, you did pronounce it right when you said it. Which one? Konu or Koinu? Do I pronounce the I is what I'm pretty much like asking. Because I want to say Konu. I don't know why. Even though there was an I in there, it feels like it's a silent I. And I now have an opportunity to check with you. And that makes me happy. Also, can my emails please fuck off? Because you're blocking the chat. Thank you. Okay, so... how are we going to do this grinding? Is the question. By killing Pokemon, that's the answer. I'm probably just going to not do too much grinding. And I'm just going to go into the gym and let Weavile sweep every trainer in there. And through that, get experience to my other team members? That seems fair. That seems fair. You need to go into the contest hall first, though. I remember. The beauty contest. Man, I don't like the contests in any generation. In Gen 3, they're just, like, way too RNG. I don't understand what I'm doing. In Gen 4, they are... better? Question mark? Gen 5 Pokestar Studios I only appreciate because it's filmmaking, and that's just like, obviously I'm gonna like that. But from like a more objective point of view, that's still bad. I don't think Kalos had any, right? But Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire did the contests again, but a little bit of a changed version of it, which I never actually played. And I don't think Gen 7 has any of it, and Gen 8 doesn't either. And I hope that it stays that way, honestly. I know it's pronounced weird, but both ways kind of sound similar to me. So, okay. So, honestly, at the end of the day, I get that people sometimes get annoyed when their name is mispronounced, and I try to avoid that as much as possible. I don't have a very mispronounceable name, so maybe it's part of that because I don't experience this. But at the end of the day, names and any word in a language are just a means of communicating like a thought to somebody else. And as long as the recipient understands what you're talking about, and in the case of a name, understands that you're talking to them, I think that's the most important part, rather than the official pronunciation of something. But just the fact that I think that way doesn't mean that I should go around and mispronouncing other people's names if they get annoyed by it. So I try to avoid that as much as possible, even though I personally do not give a shit. I mean, please don't go calling me like Hendrik, because that's just not my name. But if it's close enough to my name, honestly, I've been called the wrong name and just like went with it. I don't really care to correct people unless they're like, I've been called things that are not close to my name, but they're just confusing me with other people. Those people I do correct. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire contests were horrible because they forced into cutscenes for it. Let's talk about my problems with Gen 7, because that's exactly my problem with Gen 7. How about Regice? Honestly, I mean, even with Regice or Regice, or Rayquaza, Arceus, Arceus, Pokemon or Pokémon. What other Pokemon do we have that all those kind of things. I don't really give a shit how you pronounce something. Sometimes there is like the name is based on something. Another word which is pronounced a certain way. Like we talked about last time, Arceus is an archangel, but also derived from the word Deus. So it's definitely supposed to be Arceus or Arceus. But if you say Arceus, I say Arceus a lot of the time. I like my brain knows it's Arceus. My mouth still goes Arceus, or even Arceus sometimes. Same with Rayquaza or Rayquaza. I tend to go Rayquaza when I'm just talking about it, but I think Rayquaza is the better pronunciation, technically speaking. I don't care. As long as people know what you're talking about, that's the most important thing. Exactly, Konio. Everyone pronounces things slightly differently, and you have to account for people's accents and whatever. And everybody has a ever so slightly different accent and dialect, and just they pronounce words differently. And tomato, right? What's the right pronunciation? I'd say tomato because tomato just sounds weird, and this is exactly what we talked about last time as well. Tomato is a very good example. I also hear people say potato. Like, I think outside of like being very Irish, nobody says potato. In which case, is it an Irish word or an English word at that point? Because that's a very specific situation. Then again, tomato isn't used that widely either. So, but if you say tomato to me, I'm not going to be like, what are you talking about? What is a tomato? I know you're talking about like the red round thing that tastes like not that good until you make it into a sauce, and then it all of a sudden tastes amazing because you added a shit ton of sugar and salt. Yeah, I don't like tomatoes. I like tomato sauce. I don't like tomatoes. I'm one of those people. As a matter of fact, I think it is like required by law that you may only like either tomatoes or tomato soup. I have never met somebody, and somebody in chat is going to prove me wrong here. I've never met somebody that's like, I love... Did I say potatoes? I meant tomatoes. Tomato soup and the vegetable or fruit. We're not going to get into that. We're probably going to get into that. The vegetable itself, right? Most people like one or the other. The same with sauce. Honestly, kind of the same with banana as well. I know a lot of people that like banana flavored like ice cream and yogurt and stuff, but not actually bananas. That one I can actually see because banana flavor, the artificial one, is actually based on a breed of banana that went extinct like decades ago. So that one I can understand. Dominic had to fuck up my theory, obviously somebody had to. Okay, so you're just a tomato enthusiast. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. I need somebody that's like neutral on tomatoes, objective as possible, and just... I mean, nothing is objective in like preferences, because that's the entire thing with preferences. They're not objective. I don't know what I'm talking about. Can't you guys even understand half the things I'm saying? I am so fucking tired. I recorded a podcast today, and it went fairly well, but it was a very, like, a very rational, intensive kind of thing to do, because we went through a lot of things very, like, rapid fire style, and I had to be alert, like, at all times, and that kind of drained me. And then I had to hop on the bike and go to the grocery store because I didn't have any sauce for my... It's not tomato sauce, by the way. It's a ham and cheese sauce. For my dinner I'm going to eat after the stream. And it's just been a busy Sunday, dude. I already battled you, apparently. That's fine with me. I need to find the star. I could have sworn these gyms were randomly generated, but I think they're not, because I recently did Platinum, obviously, for the Theft Lock, and I think this is the same layout, so they're not randomly generated. Okay, so now that it doesn't count, a good way to keep you... Yeah, no, that's exactly what I do. I mean, that's what... that's how you, like, defend your opinion, isn't it? If somebody disagrees with you, it just doesn't count. You come up with some reason for it not to count. Grilled cheese with tomato soup. I can see that. I've probably done that before. I know people that do grilled cheese with tomato, like just with the vegetable or fruit. Again, we're going to get into that in a moment, probably. I've seen a lot of people do that as well. That is not as good to me. Especially since tomato is a fairly, like, wet kind of thing. And it kind of just masses up the whole structure of your grilled cheese if you put a tomato in there. What I can see, however, if you make a grilled cheese and you have like bread and then a cheese and then probably something like some kind of ham and then bread again, then a slice of tomato, even though I don't like it, but if you like tomato, I can see this, and then shredded cheese, maybe cheddar on top. That I can see. Nasty plot. Do I want nasty plot? I don't think I want nasty plot. I don't think I do. You've only had grilled cheese twice in your life? Go get grilled cheese, it's amazing. Honestly, if it was easier, well, it's not difficult to make, but it takes time, and when I'm having lunch, I don't really want to, like... I know I just had an omelette for lunch, and an omelette is way, way much more work than a grilled cheese. But generally, when I'm having lunch, I just want to have like something quick to eat. Either that, or I'm going out for lunch, which I don't do often. Last year, when I had to work an internship at a well, I'd say it's a company, but it's like a one-man company. So it's not really a company. But it was with a somebody who made theatre and video and like combined the two as well. And I worked with him, for him, with him, depending on the perspective you take there, for about half a year. And his office was located right above a very hipster kind of food place. So we went a couple of times throughout that half a year to have lunch there. And it was very good. I don't like to admit it, but hipster food is good. And I don't like it, because that means that hipsters have something they're doing right. And I don't want that to be the case. I mean, honestly, if anything, a grilled cheese is a really good way to, well, not to eat Mexican food, but like to mix. I don't know what culture a grilled cheese originally belongs to. It sounds like a very American thing, but I am fairly certain that it's probably older than America itself. So, but let's assume it's American for now, just for like ease of argument, right? Saul will break through your confusion and just finish this son of a fuck. Okay, so I can see you mixing Mexican food with a grilled cheese to end up with some kind of amalgamation which tastes amazing. I do also like Mexican food, by the way. Mexican, Italian, those are probably my two favorite kinds of food. Okay, so you're going to have to hit this dude in the face now. Thank you. You need... I hate one thing above all else, and that's when you make a grilled cheese and the cheese doesn't melt. If the cheese doesn't melt and become like all gooey and stretchy, if I bite into a grilled cheese and I take away... I know I don't have a face cam, so I'm acting this out physically, you can't see. If I'm biting in and taking away the remainder of the grilled cheese, that's like just the most of it, everything other than the bite I took, there needs to be a string of cheese connecting the two, which slowly gets thinner and thinner and thinner until it breaks, and then it just slaps me in the face, or like it slaps me down into the chin, and I have to like eat it back up. It's a very like not elegant way to eat it, but it's the best way to experience grilled cheese. That being said, if you don't make your grilled cheese correctly, the cheese doesn't really melt, and you're just eating a like toasted warm cheese sandwich, and that is actually gross as fuck. That's horrible. I don't like warm cheese. Like the cheese begins to sweat, and it's just like, I don't like it. Gross. Cheese needs to be either melted or cold out of the fridge. Warm cheese is absolutely disgusting. Okay, so coming up next is the fighting type gym, for which we're going to need Yuki to evolve. But I think we needed Yuki to be level 20 before we're allowed to evolve her, right? I think that's the case. But we have a rival battle coming up, so I think we will be fine. See, now that I don't Nuzlocke everything, and nothing has died in the gym, so that's good. Things are going significantly faster. Where you do have quesadillas. Quesadillas are pretty much grilled cheese, but not with like not just a loaf of bread, right? Okay, so that came out wrong. You don't make a grilled cheese with an entire loaf. That sounds amazing. Has anybody ever done that? Used an entire loaf of bread to make one gigantic grilled cheese? Probably not. Even better, a baguette. A French baguette to make a grilled cheese. It's probably a little bit like too thick and too crunchy. But if you add in enough cheese, that could work. That could work. I'm gonna try that at some point, like next week or something. I'll need a lot of mozzarella, like a lot. String cheese thoughts. String cheese. I like it. I legitimately like it. The only thing is, I feel very silly while eating it, just because you have to peel it off of the thing. You have to string it. You have to peel it, and that makes it feel like it's a little bit like gamification of food. Which then makes me feel like it's supposed to be, why am I using powder snow against a fire type? Then it makes me feel like I'm eating something that's supposed to be for children. And I don't mind eating something that's supposed to be for children. I mean, if I go to a restaurant, I won't order chicken fingers. But chicken fingers are amazing. Fish sticks are amazing. Again, won't order them at a restaurant, especially since most restaurants won't carry chicken fingers. Well, chicken fingers they will, fish sticks not as much. But they're amazing. We need to stop making a diversification in what's adult food and what's children's food, because a lot of children's food is actually really good, and not just because it has a lot of sugar in it. You'd say, well, yeah, but children's food, it gets a lot of sugar in it because that's what children like. String cheese doesn't have any more, like, it's just cheese, but it's a fun way to like deliver the cheese to your mouth. And you can even influence the taste of the string cheese by how thick you peel them. If you peel them a lot more thick, you get a different taste than the very like small strings. I like the small strings. I like them as small as I can fucking get them. You've never had chicken fingers? Wow. And you live in America? They're an American invention. I've had them lots as a kid. I haven't had them as much recently. Also, I'm going to lose this battle. I want you all to be aware. Oh yeah, no, I have definitely like just... I say fuck it to kids. This is a kid's food. As a matter of fact, I still, at some point, when I get the opportunity, I want to go sit down at like a very fancy restaurant and order a kids menu. Just see what happens. I mean, you can go into a McDonald's as a 40-year-old and order a, wow, that did a lot more damage than I thought it would. And order a kid's menu, a Happy Meal, and they'll probably give it to you. But what if you go to like a 3-star restaurant and you order a children's menu? They probably don't even have a children's menu because they're not expecting any kids to show up to such a fancy restaurant, right? So what they would do, surely they do something because you're paying them very much money to eat there. At which point they probably, I mean, they probably will do like anything legal you ask them to do. You're not a big fan. Well, to be fair, chicken doesn't really have flavor, does it? Chicken thigh has a little flavor to it, but compared to other meats like beef or pork, or even like other birds, like turkey or like more fancy birds, which you don't usually just get in the grocery store, chicken is really, really bland. I honestly don't like chicken that much. I don't mind it, I'll eat it, but you need to have it seasoned very, very well. Chicken is, okay, chicken is not a food. Chicken is a way to get seasoning into your mouth. That's what chicken is, in my opinion. We're waiting for Hatbot. Can I evolve Yuki after this fight? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you go to a 3-star restaurant and you ask for a Happy Meal. They'll probably go to the nearest McDonald's and get you a Happy Meal. Because you're paying those fuckers like $200 for that Happy Meal. That's such a good return on investment for them. It's probably a better return on investment for them than when they actually make you the food, because they just have to send somebody like some dishwasher bullshit dude over to the McDonald's for like 15 minutes. They don't have any like they don't have any like fancy meats or vegetables, which are all biological and stuff and very expensive as a result of that. They have to use for it. So they'll probably gladly give you a Happy Meal if you ask for it. Well, yeah, spicy chicken is very good, Coney. I agree, but that's my point of chicken isn't that tasty. It's the thing that's on the chicken that's tasty. Or if you marinate it in it long enough, the thing that's inside the pores of the chicken. Chicken is just a vessel. Chicken isn't a meat. Chicken is a vessel. A good piece of meat is good on its own. Of course, you sometimes want to have a little bit of sauce with it. But the sauce is to enrich the flavor and the experience of the meat. I don't see it that way with chicken. With chicken, I definitely see it like chicken is just... It's a solid vessel that you can pour sauce and spices over to get those into your mouth. So yes, as a result of that, I think chicken gets better the finer it's cut. Big chunks of chicken, I don't like. Very finely cut chicken in like... Almost like make a soup where instead of soup you have sauce. And then instead of something in the soup, you just have chicken. That's actually kind of good. That's literally what marinating is, I am aware. I think you're talking to Dominic or someone else about snow runs or Frost Lizard moveset. I might have been, I don't know. I'm going to evolve. I said we were going to evolve him at level 20, I think, or her at level 20, I think. But we're just going to move. So I think this might be the level up. The evolve level? I don't know. I'm going to go to level 20 anyway, because maybe we'll learn another move at level 20. Wait, seriously? Somebody tried to sue McDonald's because they weren't happy after eating a Happy Meal. That's wild. I'm never happy when I'm done eating at McDonald's. I'm very happy while eating McDonald's, usually. But that's just because as a child I went there as a reward. It's just The reward center in my brain is like, hey, I know this taste. You must have done something good because we're tasting this and you only taste this when you've done something good. So, yeah, here, have a lot of dopamine. And that's the reason I like McDonald's. It's not just it's not because it's good food. As a matter of fact, like, I know it's bad food. I don't know. If it's 12:30 p.m., you probably should go get some lunch. I mean, I had lunch at 5 p.m. today. Then again, I also had breakfast at like the time it is for you now. Like a little past noon, I had breakfast. So don't take my eating patterns as a way to live, because it's a bad way to live. Especially during the weekends, it gets offset even more. But even then, usually I'll have breakfast anywhere from like 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then lunch usually around 3. Can I just keep challenging that braid non-stop by just reloading the area? I don't know. Also, McDonald's... Okay, let's get this over with. Because we've got a couple of people in chat here. I see Konu, I see Angel, and I think Dominic might still be around. I don't know where everybody is from, but that's sad. McDonald's and like fast food chains overseas, something happens, because every time I hear an American talk about Burger King, they're like, it's the worst fucking fast food place in the entirety of North America. Burger King over here is pretty good. Like, legitimately, Burger King is much better than McDonald's. Like, in every way possible. The only thing McDonald's does better than Burger King and milkshakes. Milkshakes on McDonald's side, so much better. But Burger King, the burgers, the fries, also McDonald's has a tasty sauce over here, which is like mayo and mustard mixed. It's really good. The Burger King doesn't have that. It's like McDonald's sauce. But Burger King, just generally as like a fast food, I want to get a burger and fries menu. It's much better. So I don't know if this is to do with we prepare it differently here as the European part of the chain, or maybe our resources, because we're not importing the resources all the way from America. So like our wheat and the meat we use is different, and that makes it better. Or maybe we just culturally have different things we are looking for in fast food. But McDonald's is definitely worse than Burger King. Burger King doesn't do a good job of making the bacon. They started actually cook the food more. Oh, of course, yeah, it also counts me as being in the stream. That makes sense, because I have to be able to look at the chat. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I've had bacon on a burger when getting Burger King, so I can't talk about that too much. I do know the bacon you get on the hamburgers, just the normal cheese, the normal cheese, no, not cheeseburgers. Well, anyway, the bacon you get on a burger at McDonald's, at least in the Netherlands, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Then again, as I talked about, I think... Now, I talked about that in Discord, in the Team Caterpie Discord. When I went to France a couple of months ago for a family vacation, we, on the way back, went to McDonald's because we just had a very long day and I had walked like 10 to 15 kilometers per day for like 4 days or 3 days. Also, you can't challenge this breeder over and over again. I mean, you can with the Versa Seeker, but not just by reloading the area, apparently. So we went to a McDonald's and I saw they had something I really, really, really want. And it's just on the menu there. It's a triple cheese and a triple bacon cheeseburger. So what it is, it's hamburger bun, burger, cheese, bacon, burger, cheese, bacon. Top one. With some sauce thrown in there somewhere, and maybe like a leaf of lettuce in there somewhere. And maybe some pickle. I don't like pickle. Why do people put pickles on their fucking burgers? I don't understand it. It ruins the burger. I understand why people put on tomato. I don't like tomato, but I understand why people do put it on. I don't understand why pickles on a burger. I don't understand pickles in general, because you have to put in more effort to make the thing actively taste worse. The pickling process, it takes a while, it takes a little bit of work, and it always comes out worse than it went in. California, In-N-Out 4x4 burger. What's 4x4? What's 4 times or 4x4? Is that a 4 high burger with... I don't, do I even want to know? Do I even want to know? But In-N-Out does fries that taste like uncooked potatoes. They are the worst. That's not good. And that's very not good. I'll do another razor leaf with Dominic. I don't even think we have In-N-Out here, to be honest, now I think about it. A lot of the fast food chains you probably go to frequently, we don't even have. We have Burger King and McDonald's, obviously, because everybody has those. We have Domino's Pizza. We have New York Pizza. We have Almost Dad's Nova. We have Subway. We have KFC. That's mostly the fast food chains we have, like the American ones anyway. I mean, feel free to ask if we have certain ones, or I've ever seen them at any rate. Chances are, if I've not seen them, there are like very few of them, and there's probably like one somewhere in Amsterdam. I don't know Amsterdam that well. I worked there for like half a year, lived in the general area for that time. But I've only seen like a very small section of Amsterdam, so I don't know. But if anywhere, there probably is a lot of like fast food there, which you wouldn't find anywhere other than there in the country. Usually the first one of a chain opens in Amsterdam, just because there's a lot of people living in Amsterdam. We're still talking about food. Fast food, as a matter of fact. The better question is, what food did you get? I didn't want to go in here. I don't want to make puffins. Puffins, also kind of good food. And that's how you feel like the first hour of a stream, just talking about food and then fast food, and man, there's a lot of things to talk about here. We're having fun. Also, I looked at my YouTube analytics today or yesterday, just because I talked about it in a recent Pokemon Through the Years episode that went up recently, not that I recorded recently, because that's been a while, where I said over the past couple of months I've been growing a steady like 10% per month. I looked again, and that's been like 3 or 4 weeks since I recorded that episode, and my current like stats of the past 28 days compared to the 28 days that came before that is a 45% increase. And I think that mostly has to do with the fact that I've started live streaming. Because obviously like a lot of watch time is generated through live streaming, because it's a long time easy to produce, and especially if it's like twice a week, that's like probably like up to 10 hours of watch time generation per week, which is a lot more than I was generating before. So that's an interesting stat for you guys. Some fried chicken rice stuff. I read that in the wrong order, but I got the basic gist of it. I don't understand fried rice. Gonna be honest. We don't do that over here. We just fucking boil it and then eat it. Like, do you actually like put it in a frying pan? Or is that just like... I don't understand. Do you do that? Do you boil it and then put it in the frying pan? Do you just put it in the frying pan? Rice in a frying pan with like butter? With oil? What is fried rice? Because the way I prepare rice, I wouldn't call that frying it. That's literally just putting it into a pot with water and boiling it until it's absorbed enough water, and then I can like eat it. So that's boiling rice. Is that what you call fried rice? Because I've always been confused by that. A buttered croissant, that's... actually, I'm a weird dude. I prefer to eat my croissants without anything on them. No cheese. No jam, even. Just straight up croissant. If it's a good croissant, you can eat them without anything on them. And a good croissant is something that is a little bit crunchy on the outside, but very soft on the inside. So soft, in fact, that when you bite into it, the inside stretches when you go to... Just like the cheese does, but a lot less. The cheese in a grilled cheese. That's a good croissant. Those, I love eating them without anything on them. If you put it into a steamer, that's rice. If you make fried rice, you put it into oil instead of actually steaming them. Well, you actually make rice in oil. That's amazing. And the other option is steaming them. So you don't ever boil your rice. It sounds like it might actually be a more tasty way to prepare it. I'll admit that. Because I'm going to be honest. Just putting them in a pot with water and boiling that shit doesn't taste very good. It's even worse than chicken. It's literally a vessel for you to put sauce in or around or like just with it and then eat the sauce. Because the rice doesn't have any fucking taste. I need to try that. It sounds good. Never had it that way. Food is weird, man. Especially if you're like in like a global world where we live now, where you can have Chinese food, but then you actually figure out that the Chinese food you eat is nothing like the food they make in China. The same with like pasta or pasta, whatever, however you like to pronounce it, right? Same, pasta. We eat that as like a main dish. But in Italy, pasta isn't the main dish usually. Usually that's a side dish. There's like a little bit of pasta to go with your main dish. I love eating pasta as my main dish. It's just, we take something from another culture, modify it to our own, and then create something subtly new. And that is what I like about having a lot of different kinds of food. Because when I say I eat a lot of Mexican food and I like it, it's probably different from the Mexican food that you eat. It's definitely different from the Mexican food that you eat. It's based on that, definitely. It's based on real Mexican food, but it's like, it's been ever so slightly modified to fit better within our culture and use cases. It won't have taste if you just boil it raw. You need to boil it in some kind of stock. That's a good point, actually. If you boil it in some kind of stock, that's a lot better already. That's a good point. Lots of people don't do that around here, sadly, though. That's seen as being a special variant. The default way to make rice is just plain water. Maybe a little bit of salt in the water as well, but not too much. It's pretty much the way you cook pasta, to be honest. Again, food is weird. And I'm very glad that before this stream started, I actually ate something, because otherwise I'd be starving by now. And we still have an hour to go, so this is gonna be... I'm gonna be hungry when we finish, I feel. Maybe not, I do feel quite full from my omelette. And I didn't even like put anything in. It's literally just like mixed up, beaten up eggs. I do sometimes like to put on some bacon, some cheese in my omelette. Man, when I first moved out and I had to start making my own dinner every fucking night, I did things that no mortal being should, and that is eat a very, very thick omelette for dinner. That's like, it was 4 eggs, like 150 grams of shredded cheese, then some like ham cubes, then some like little bit of bacon in it as well, and just make that into an omelette and put that on 2 pieces of white bread. It was so fatty, it's not even funny. I'm amazed that I didn't get a heart attack immediately. But you know what? It tasted fucking great. It was salty, it was fatty, and that's pretty much that's, evolutionary speaking, I think that's the perfect meal. Something with a lot of salt and a lot of fat. For some reason, the human body just likes those 2 things. Stuffed chili? Huh, I don't really have like a mental picture with that, to be honest. I mean, yeah, if anybody wants to share what kind of weird shit they and their family eat, that'd be interesting. I really do like the way food culture changes around the world. It's part of the reason that I love to like be places. Even within a single country, there's differences between how people prepare food. Like, if I go up to the north of the same country, and it's like, that's only a 5-6 hour drive. Probably should have seen that coming. People are going to prepare some foods differently than they do here in the south. And I actually appreciate that a lot. I wish I had more money to go around traveling, honestly. Because if I had more money to go around traveling, I'd be eating a lot of, like, nice foods. I like food. I can be a very picky eater. I should admit that as well. But what other people call being a picky eater, I call just having a taste for something. I wanted to say high standards, but I was like, I just told you guys about making an omelette with like cheese and ham for dinner. I can't say I have high standards like 10 minutes after that. But I would argue that yes, I can have like junk food type stuff, and I can make myself junk food type stuff. But if it comes down to like actual cuisine, I think pretty much anything, even the things I don't like, if you cook it well enough, usually you can make it at least like palatable, right? I don't like fish, for instance. Just the taste of it, I don't really like fish. But if you incorporate fish into a bigger dish and it becomes more subtle, because my main issue with a lot of fish is it's a very strong flavor for like the strongness of the flavor compared to the volume of fish you're eating is very high. But if you like make it small and I don't know, put it into some kind of other dish, even with like rice, it's depending on the kind of fish, that's a really good combination. Rice and fish. I mean, yes, I'm aware that's literally sushi. That's not what I mean. I don't like raw fish, but that's mostly a texture kind of thing. Half the foods I don't eat because my body rejects it. I literally vomit from eggs. I used to do that a lot more. Not literally vomiting. I've never had that issue. But I used to do a lot of like gagging when I had food that I didn't like, and it's mostly a texture-based thing for me anyway. That just kind of stopped happening at some point in my life. I don't understand why. I still like sometimes have the reflex to do it, but in such a reduced way that I can actually like just say fuck it and swallow it without any issues. And that's the best way to learn to eat shit. If you don't like something, if you just eat it a couple of times, you'll start to dislike it less. You're probably not going to love it. Maybe some things you will start to love, but at the end of the day, that's the first step, right? Just forcing yourself to eat it and getting used to it. A fair bit of that is, as well, I have to admit, is being broke as fuck. And having other people invite me to dinner because they knew I was broke as fuck, and they're like, okay, he can probably like afford his own food, but if he gets like a little bit of good food every now and then, it's gonna save him money and get him more vitamins and all that kind of stuff. Like family and friends, and that's a very kind thing to do. Honestly, I think giving somebody food, even if you're not very poor or broke or anything, I think the gift of giving somebody food, it's something special somehow. I don't know. I really think giving food is up there as far as like giving me things I actually appreciate. The things I appreciate are either food or very expensive. So if anybody ever wants to buy me something and wants me to actually appreciate it, get me food. I'll appreciate it. But yeah, so when you're over at somebody else's place and getting a free dinner, you're not going to be like, oh, this is gross, and not eat it. You're going to force yourself to eat it. And that way I learned to eat quite a few new things. Like, before, bell peppers I just wouldn't eat, and I still don't like them, but I can at least swallow them now. Not saying that that's something you are going to have to do, but... Oh, chocolate can't be switched out. Well, that sucks. But that's my experience with a similar situation. Oh yeah, please do. I mean, you can put it in now. I can still look at Discord during the stream. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of vegetables myself, honestly. And I know that sounds like I'm a 12-year-old, and kind of at heart, maybe I am. But they're important. They are important for your general health. Giving stuff will always give the giver and a receiver a good feeling. However, in the case of Vlogger, giving him bell pepper will give him the greatest joy of all. I don't know. I don't like bell pepper. We talked about it in Team Canopy Discord today, actually, again, about bell peppers. Swagger, I don't need swagger. Yeah, no swagger. I don't like bell peppers. Also, hello, subpar. You just leveled up. But if I get like a dish... Okay, no. There's one exception. A while ago, for work, we had to be on a location to shoot a video. A while ago, that's like 7-8 months ago. And it was just like around dinner time. And it was very close to where one of my friend's parents lived, and it was a friend that I was shooting the video with. So we went there to have dinner, and from there go to a location where we had to shoot the video. So his parents made a spaghetti, and it was a nice spaghetti, but they put bell pepper into the spaghetti. Why? Why would you ever do that? Also, I think we can evolve Yuki now, so let's actually do that. I'm doing alright. I'm still getting over this cold, slowly but surely, hopefully. I've had a busy day today. I've recorded a podcast with the same dude, actually, from the Bell Pepper parents. And I had to go to the grocery store, and nothing interesting happened at the grocery store. Well, actually, I kind of like pushed a lady to the side because she was being an asshole. And I was also being an asshole, and I'm a bigger asshole, so I just pushed her to the side. But yeah, it's been both a very relaxed Sunday, but also for a Sunday, it's been very busy. Oh yeah, that makes sense. If you can't post a picture and watch the stream at the same time. I'm guessing you're watching on your phone then? You're typing an awful lot for somebody who's watching on their phone. I don't like to watch a stream on my phone and also be active in chat personally. I can't mix the two. But I also have a fucking shitty phone, so I don't know. So yeah, that's been my Sunday. Yesterday what did I do yesterday? Yesterday I recorded one episode of Pokemon Through the Years, which went fairly well. And I'm not going to talk about it too much in detail because it's like pretty far away from being uploaded. So I don't want to give spoilers for like any video that comes before that as well. And I think in that video I'm using Pokemon that I haven't even caught in the videos that are going up now. So I'm not talking about that too much. And I had like a 4-hour call with a friend of mine talking about some things for projects we're working on, or we're going to be working on, hopefully. So it's been a productive weekend, which on one hand side I am kind of annoyed about it being a productive weekend, because the weekends, for me at least, I try to be not too productive and just chill and do whatever I want whenever I want it. But also, it always feels nice to have been productive. It always just to finish up something and you've made something, it's just always nice to put something, either to start up something, to finish something, to work on something. It just feels nice. I use a P-shirt on Pokemon Through the Years. Don't tell them that! I modded in a Plants vs Zombies plant into Pokemon Yellow, and that's now my main Pokemon. He has got base 200 stats across the board. It's literally a double Mew. It's a very good thing. I don't know how you know though, because that's only happening in like episode 50. Just to be sure, I haven't recorded all the way up to episode 50 yet. Episode 50 will probably be the start of Hoenn, if I keep up the pace I'm doing now. Which, actually no, probably not. Okay, so you're dead apparently. Probably not, because Johto is going to take me a while, since I also have to do Kanto again in Crystal. Because I have to make it all the way to Red. So maybe episode 50 won't quite be the end of the start of Hoenn, but it'll probably be close to the end of Johto, I imagine. See you later, Kono. It's been nice having you. And obviously the rest of the stream will be up on YouTube later if you want to watch it. So, and hopefully I'll be able to stream a little bit more next week as well. I try to do 2 a week now. I mean, I know I said I wasn't going to have a schedule. And I still am not going to try to have a schedule. But like 1 or 2, at least 1 a week seems fair. I try to do 2 a week, 1 on the weekend, 1 on a weekday. I've never even seen Kono's name as being able to spell, to be called Koi. So, any comment about my vlogerized Regice plushie? I totally glossed over that, I'm sorry. Where does it say that? It says that we shall give Vlogger a Regice plushie and we call it Vlogerize. I mean, if you want to do that, I'd rather you give me food, as discussed before, or like a $50,000 cinema camera. Doesn't even have to be bad, it just has to be like, a good lens would work as well. Like a couple $1,000 lens, I'll be happy with that. Or just like a meal, just food. That would also make me happy. I wouldn't mind a Reggie Ice plushie. I just will be sitting in the corner of a room and never do anything until it becomes relevant on a stream, and then I pick it up and I'm like, yeah, actually give me a webcam. I still don't have a proper webcam. I'm using a fucking like cinema documentary camera as my face cam for the videos. That's why I don't have a webcam on stream, because I'm recording those things internally to an SD card. It's not a USB type of thing. So that is something I desperately need, a webcam. It would be tough from America, yeah. Especially since exporting food is not something you're really like allowed to do much. They're not very big fans of you bringing food onto an airplane. If it's a Reggie Steel, it will be called Licorice. There's a lot for cheap. Yeah, I know exactly which webcam I want, is the thing. It's not even an expensive one. I don't need like a 4K. I saw a webcam with a built-in ring light. Razer made it, so it was out of stock. Probably was very expensive. But I know exactly which one I want. I want a... I've had it before. I just don't know where it is. I probably like lost it sometime when moving. Because I've moved quite a few times over the past few years. But it was a 720p webcam. It was like a square one. It's a very, very nice one. It's 35 euros. It's not that expensive. I just like need to work around when I can actually buy it, so that I can, one, have a face cam on streams, which is something that I'm kind of missing now. And two, I am absolutely fucking done with manually syncing my camera with the game footage every single time I record. Even though it's only 10 seconds of work, I prefer not to have to do it. And the quality difference, it's not that noticeable. I mean, it's a good camera, don't get me wrong. I'm using a good camera for my face cam, but it's overkill. It's way overkill. I mean, for the price you buy this camera, you can't even buy a webcam. That's a little bit overkill. And I even bought it fucking cheap. The thing that what this thing is actually worth, it's no, just no. I mean, I could also just put a Totodile picture up in the top right corner. That's very, very true. What move are you trying to learn? Endure. How about no? Total body and vlogger face. I mean, that sounds like an emote. That sounds like a good emote. I don't want to learn Endure. Just fuck off, please. No, give up. No! Wrong button. Give up on Endure. Thank you. It's not that difficult, is it? We might not make it through the fourth gym today. We're going to make it to Veilstone, definitely. But I think Maylene has a level 31 Lucario, I want to say. Is that right? That's a little bit too high for me. Just a little bit too high. I mean, this is what happens when I don't pay attention to the game and I'm reading chat. I just get caught in an infinite loop of trying to learn Endure. I mean, if we skip all the trainings we can skip, we might actually be able to make it through the gym as well. But we probably will be under leveled. So what's the game there? Yeah, I know you don't want to buy the Tree of Wisdom in Plants vs Zombies. It doesn't do anything. It gives you, it even tells you, it just gives you like hints on the game. But as bad as I am, I don't think I need that. And that's like, it's $10,000. And it's significantly cheaper than the rest of the Zen Gardens, because the other two Zen Gardens you can buy are 30,000 each. I've been grinding a little bit of money in the Zen Garden whenever I could over the weekend. And my Zen Garden is actually filling up nicely. I've got the bottom 2 rows almost filled up. Some plants in there. I mean, I've got a lily pad and a mushroom plant in there, which don't do anything in here, obviously. But the rest of them, there's like 1 melon pooled, and the rest are those gourmerries or whatever they're called. So they're producing me quite a bit of money when I'm actually actively monitoring the Zen Garden, which is nice. I just wish you could do that passively. You can, but with chocolate, for which you need to actually play the game. We found a bra in the wow. Just wow. I'm actually impressed. It's not bad about the hints. After 50 feet, it doesn't give any more hints till you reach over 200 feet. Yeah, no, I just probably won't buy that until I have a shitload of money, which I probably will never have. Because for that, you're probably going to need to actually like grind money. For a moment there, I thought that was a shiny Gligar and I was going to lose my shit. Shiny Gligar looks a lot like normal Gligar. It's blue, right? Shiny Gligar? Gligar? Is it... Okay, we have got another one. Is it Gligar or Gligar? As a video expert, would you rather record HQ laggy video low resolution like... or low resolution like 800 by 600 but smooth video? It really depends on the use case of the video, but generally speaking, I'd go for lower resolution over choppy video. Obviously, I mean, if you're doing something like a stop motion animation, it's okay to be a little bit choppy. But you're probably referring to like screen recordings, I'm assuming. Or like gameplay. In which case, yeah, tank your resolution and make sure your frame rate is at least consistent. It doesn't even need to be 60. But if you just like get it anywhere between 20 and 30 frames per second and keep it consistent. Because in that range, if you go from 20 to 25, that's still very annoying. Obviously, your video file can't go a variable frame rate, but that's exactly why you want to keep the recording a steady frame rate, because otherwise it gets very choppy and you don't want that. So I'd go lower resolution if that fixes your choppy video recording. I mean, I could cheese the game, but honestly, I record like once a week for Plants vs Zombies because I just sit down and record 3 episodes back to back to back. And then I've got an entire week's worth of videos for Plants vs Zombies. So there's no real reason for me to cheese it because I've got plenty of time to just do it in between, and I don't even need the money that badly anyway. I generate money enough through the mini games and the puzzle levels and stuff like that. And probably when we go do survival, going to snowball, I don't know. When we go to survival, I'll probably bring some of those gold generating plans just because. I'll want to record, I don't know that word, it's probably a game. but I am a sucker for smooth video, but going below 720p 60 FPS always hurts. I mean, it does. It does. I know. It's no fun, but honestly, if you... It's a balance, right? Because you don't want to go down to 240p to hit 60 FPS, because 60 FPS is going to be fairly worthless, especially on YouTube, because only HD gets 60. So it's really a balance, right? Because you want to do as much as you possibly can not to get under 30. Or 25 if you're European. But beyond that, there's also... It's always difficult. It's also a matter of personal perspective, but I'd say first priority is get to a consistent frame rate of 30 FPS. And once you get that, you can go up in resolution. And then when you hit 720p, then 720-30, if you can do that consistently, then it becomes more important, I think, to go 60 FPS 720 than it would to be 30 FPS 1080. The same from 1080 to 4K or 1440p, but nobody actually uses 1440p. We kind of just skip that resolution altogether. The Chocolate and Plants vs. Zombies makes the snail faster and stay awake for 1 hour. Or it quadruples the... if you use it on the snail, of course. Or if you use it on a plant, it quadruples the output of that plant for, I think, 5 minutes or 15 minutes. So it does something on the plants, but you need to use the chocolate actually on a plant. And it only works on that specific plant. So, generally speaking, it's much better idea to give it to the snail, I think. But honestly, I haven't experimented with that yet. I haven't looked up like min-max strategies for the Zen Garden because I don't really care, mostly. If my recording partner had a say in it, everything would need to be recorded 1440 60, but not everyone has money to burn. Honestly, depending on the game, my computer might not be able to record 1440 60. It can run some games in 4K 30, but as soon as I throw OBS at it, it probably would just like panic and tank frame rate. 1440p 60 is... why? What are you compromising to even get that? Do you have like a literally like a $5,000 computer? Or are you compromising on bitrate or something like that? Or encoding presets, making them faster? Because that then reduces the quality, which fucks up the fact that you're going on high resolution. I understand, especially with like how marketing for modern displays and stuff works, that people get very fixated on those numbers, the frame rate and the resolution. But honestly, if you're doing anything video related, at least to a certain point, beyond a certain point it doesn't matter. But please make sure your bitrate and your encoding preset for recording in OBS are good enough, because if you record on a low bitrate or a very fast preset, but you have a 4K file, you might as well have a slower, higher bitrate 1080p file. Because that will probably, at the end of the day, look better. Taking just like screenshots from it, the 4K one might look better, but in motion, the higher bitrate, slower preset probably looks better. And then lower resolution on top of that. Again, that also, that's not a general rule. It really depends on the specific situation, but I'd say for most cases, that's the case. I mean, I record my Pokemon videos at way too high a bitrate. I'm recording, I have one bitrate set for recording, which is like 15,000 kilobits per second. And that's 1080p 60. And I use that for everything. So I use that for Pokemon, but I also use that if I were to play a game like Sonic. Soulball has died, I'm sorry. And in a game like Sonic, things do start to be a little like blocky because of compression. But in a game like Pokemon, which is just like literally sprites moving around, and there's not much happening on screen at any given time, I could probably like cut about 75% of that bitrate and the quality wouldn't be impacted whatsoever. And this fucking game, doesn't even run at 60 FPS. There's no... Pokemon Emerald technically runs at 60 FPS, but the animations are so few frames that you don't even notice that it runs at 60 FPS. There's no Pokemon game that requires 60 FPS. Yet I record and upload in 60 FPS because I'm used to it. But there's no reason to. And even my face cam isn't even 60 FPS. I record that bitch at 30. Because it's just a face cam. Why do I need 60? I don't understand why people for video purposes are so obsessed with 60 FPS. Just fuck off. For video game purposes, it makes sense, right? For video game purposes, you want to have as many frames show up on the screen as humanly possible because you get more opportunities to interact with the game. So the more frames you have, the faster response you'll have. And for vlogging, I also understand 60 FPS because 60 FPS looks more real. It looks more closer to actual life. But for other than that, 30 just like, it's good enough. Anyway, I've been ranting for a little bit. I see there's a lot more things in chat. You can use chocolate on plants. Yeah, you definitely can. I have on screen, as a matter of fact. I don't think that episode has gone up yet, but you can. Chubby Pikachu from Gen 1 or the Skinny Pikachu from the later gens. Let's go with favorite versions of Pokemon. We can do that in a moment, but for now, I don't really care about either of them. So yeah, one is Dominic going to get some stream mod vlog. I mean, with such a small stream here that we don't really need moderation, because if anybody comes in and messes things up, I can just fucking ban them myself. But yeah. Okay, so 6,000 for low CPU intensive games, 3,000 for high CPU intensive games, my rule of thumb. But it's not really about how CPU... It partly is because about how CPU intensive the game is, but it's mostly about how similar one frame is to the next. Because a lot of the compression you're going to get is inter-frame compression, which means that it compares frame number 1 to frame number 2, and it only updates the things about the frame that has changed. The lower the bitrate is, the more it will accept things having changed but still keeping the previous frame. So things in motion will start to look very bad when there is a low bitrate. Obviously, for recording purposes, also higher bitrates do usually take more CPU power. So if that's a concern, I get your point. But your bitrate should mostly be based, if you do it properly, on the amount, how much the game and the recording changes from frame to frame, how fast the game is. That's why I chose Sonic as an example, because Sonic is a very fast-paced game. It changes a lot from frame to frame. As a matter of fact, if you're going very fast in Sonic, especially the 2D ones, one frame might have literally nothing in common with the next frame, other than Sonic being in the middle of the screen. So yeah. Otherwise, it'll affect recording software. Talks about bitrate. Yeah, okay. So that's my 2 cents on that anyway. Yeah, no, I mean, I can give mod to people, but I don't really see the use in it until it becomes somewhat necessary, and at the moment, I don't know, the idea of having a mod also implies that there's going to be people that aren't going to behave. And at the moment, I'd like to think that everybody that's here, except me, because I'm an asshole, actually behaves well. So I don't think mods are required yet. If we ever get to a point where mods are required, that probably means that things are going like very well as far as like the channel goes, and that'll actually be a very like interesting and fun and good thing to happen. But at the moment, I don't really care. Yeah, but high bitrate in case of recording Symphonia became a slideshow. That's probably the playback, not so much the recording. To be honest. Or you're recording a very high bitrate and your CPU just couldn't keep up and just fucking pooped out something. But usually a high bitrate video being a slideshow or freezing or something, it's usually a playback related issue, and the actual video file itself is fine if you played it on a more powerful computer or you like exported it again. Wait a second, how can you use low kick? I'm a ghost type. Right? Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, that's not good. I don't hate Dominic. I hate a lot of people. I don't hate Dominic. Dominic, you offer me beer. You offer me free beer. I don't hate people who offer me free beer. People I know. If a stranger comes to me in a bar and offers me a free beer, I'm getting the fuck out of there. An hour and a half. We just started talking about food and now we're talking about videos. Okay, so there's a couple of things that if you ask me about, I will just go off on. One of those things is Kingdom Hearts. Another one of those is anything like video technical related, because that is my profession. And then there's also... those are the two main things, really. Food also to a certain extent, clearly, but less so. He is no god. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Foresight would have allowed low kick. He also has foresight. That makes even more sense. I didn't think about foresight being a thing. You're very right there. I was thinking Frostlass is going to be an absolute beast in this gym because nobody can hit him. Her. But foresight is definitely a thing. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Oh. I can tell that I've been talking for like fucking 4 hours today because my throat is starting to be a little bit sore. I usually don't like talk like a lot for more than like 2 hours a day. But I've been, well, sometimes a little, like 3 hours at most. But today it's been like, I've been on a call, then I had to record that podcast, which was like an hour and a half. Then I was on that same call for a little while longer, not too long, just a little while, just to like get things set up for how I'm going to get my footage to you and that kind of stuff. And then obviously there's 2 hour stream, so that's entirely, that's like 4.5 hours. That's, I'm starting to feel it. Again, there's people who stream for 10 hours a day. I don't understand. Well, to be honest, they have a lot more silence in their streams. A lot more like downtime and low energy than I usually do, I think. I think when I stream, I open my mouth and then 2 hours later I shut my mouth and I notice that I hadn't drank any water in that time usually and my throat hurts. That being said, streams are a little bit lower energy already than Let's Play content itself is. No, I can have Frostlass as long as you check the moves they use. Yeah, but I'm not going to check every single individual Pokemon that moves. If Frostlass dies, that's her fucking problem, not mine. Kind of is my problem, but let's ignore that. So who else is in the box? I want to put in a small circle with the other Pokemon so it looks like we're all just quiet talking to each other. Let's see who else is in the box. I mean, everything that's not on the team. So that's like another 10 or so Pokemon. We have No the Delibird, which goes to the corner. You have been bad. We've got Vlogger the Moltres, not Vlogger the Moltres, Vlogger the Regice, Moltres the Articuno, we've got Olaf the Seal, Angel the Lapras, Shelly the Shelder, and Random the Smoochum. None of which we're going to bring at the moment. I mean, Angel, Vlogger, Olaf, and Moltres are pretty much the only very useful ones, I'd say. I'm thinking about maybe not having Glaceon on the team for much longer, just because, from a type perspective, everything already is an Ice type. So why do I need a pure Ice type on the team? I think it's a better idea to have a dual type there, even if it covers pretty much the same bases as other types I already have. It's always better than just having a straight up Ice type, I would say. There's no reason for me to be in this ring. Well, yeah, Moltres would be helpful because one, it's a legendary, and it's also a flying type. Don't get me wrong. It's a legendary, which would help a lot, and it messes with people when I say Moltres and it's an Articuno. But since it's not on Nuzlocke anymore, I want to prevent myself from using legendaries and just sweeping the entire game because that just doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. So that's the reason I'm not bringing Moltres. Otherwise, that would be the lead of my team, especially for this gym. I mean, this gym could probably actually smooch him. It would be a Jinx by the time it evolves. Jinx wouldn't be so bad to have, especially now against this Croagunk. Psychic would have just annihilated this dude. But we have... What are we going to use against you instead? Subpar is way too low level. I'm going to have to grind after this battle, I just noticed. This is a trainer battle in the gym as level 26. I'm having issues with it. It's also the third battle we're doing, and I'm only now noticing that. So we're probably going to spend the rest of today's stream just grinding in the grass. And then next episode... In a way, it's next episode. Next stream, we're going to take on this fourth gym. And probably Crash Awake's gym right after that as well, because Snover is going to absolutely annihilate that, Dominic. And then we'll probably... I don't know. We might not be able to make a lot of story things happen in that same stream, because we might have to do a little bit of grinding as well. But generally, I think we're going to be fine. Snowball, by the way, much better Pokemon non-evolved than I thought it would be. Also, if anybody here is watching this and is not in Discord yet, which I very much doubt, but I think there's a link down below in the stream to the Discord. Go ahead and join the Discord. It's loads of fun. We also just give away free games. I try to give away 2 games every weekend. And it's literally free. You just have to be there and like react with the emoticon to, or an emoji, I don't know what Discord calls them, to a post I make, and then like 24 hours later, probably like an hour after the stream for today, I pick 2 winners and I DM you a Steam code to redeem the game. So there's only winners, other than me, because I'm paying for the games. But I'm going to be honest with you, all of the games I give away are games from Humble Monthly, or it's now called Humble Choice, I think, which I didn't want myself. And it's like, because I had Humble Monthly, I got all 10 games every month. And that's a lot of games. And most of them don't really like tickle my fancy. So I figure I just give them away and maybe you guys enjoy them. And if not, it's not my problem either way, because I wasn't going to play them anyway. So that's pretty much... Hello, Oi. You said A. I mean, you can always feel free to, like, ask or DM me or something about help. I mean, I might not be able to help you right away. But I'll be glad to take a look and see if there's anything I can, like, see or do or recommend anyway. But it might take a couple of hours. Or a day. Before I can get back to anybody. But if you've got questions about video stuff, you can DM me. You can like ask about it in my Discord. It's I'm always happy to help people. It's the one thing I actually know shit about, so it's the one thing I can help people with. It's like that and building computers, where I can help people. But video tech, loads more than computer tech. Like computer tech, I'm a solid 7.5 out of 10 as far as knowledge goes. Video tech technology, I'm probably like a solid 9 out of 10 as far as knowledge goes. And honestly, the fact that I know and say that I'm not a 10 out of 10 probably gets me closer to a 10 out of 10, because it's the... What's that curve called? Where you, the less you know about the subject, the more you think you know about it. Is it the Dunning-Kruger effect or something? The Dunning-Kruger effect, that's what it is. I think I'm fairly like to the right there. I'm aware that there's like a lot of things I still don't know, but the only reason that I am aware of those things I don't know is because I'm aware of a lot of other things. How would you feel if you fought a person online and they had the Pokemon team with random names? Mew coming into battle, I waited Chansey. I don't know how the normal, like, the Pokemon games themselves deal with that. This is definitely going to kill subpar. I'm sorry. But I know that on Showdown, if you do that, it just doesn't take the nickname. It just doesn't display it. If you use another Pokemon's name as your nickname, it just uses your original Pokemon's name. It doesn't display the nickname. Specifically to prevent confusion, I guess. I don't know how the actual games deal with it. I imagine they do something similar. Where they just don't display the nickname. I think I've done that before, like in Gen 3, back in the day at school. Name all my Pokemon something different and then battle against somebody else. I don't remember what happened. Then again, that's probably like 15 years ago, so you can't blame me for not remembering like one battle I had during recess 15 years ago. Dunning-Kruger effect assesses the cognitive ability as greater than it is. You mean this? Yeah, there's a very well-known like graph that goes with that. I'll throw it in Discord actually right now. And I'll use this one because I like the names it gives with it. The one I just threw in the Discord server, the Dunning-Kruger effect. That graph. I mean, you probably know what it is, but that's something I like run into a lot. People being on the very like left side and the peak of Mount Stupid. It happens a lot, and it's very annoying. On my Pokemon, yeah, they actually say the Pokemon nicknames. Yeah, I know, but I mean, the game itself doesn't allow you to put in certain words as nicknames. Like, you can't... At least you couldn't. I think they might have changed this in like Gen 7 or 8. You couldn't call your Pokemon Dickface. It just wouldn't allow it. So I imagine that you wouldn't be able to battle with those. Even if you're allowed to name them that now. Or trade them. I don't know exactly how it works, but I imagine there's something in place to prevent people from doing that. Isle of Armor Crown... Oh, we haven't even talked about the DLC. This has been the first stream since the DLC has been out. You're entirely right. Wow. Opinions on them. Okay. I don't know. I think the DLC looks good. But I also see people being like hyped as shit for it, and I don't agree with that. I'm very glad that they're adding back in like 200 plus Pokemon. And those Pokemon are available even if you don't buy the DLC. So you can still like battle and trade with those Pokemon. If you don't buy the DLC, you just can't catch them, which has always been the case. There's never been a Pokemon game where you can catch them all. Even though that's literally the tagline. So that doesn't piss me off at all. The only thing is, people are saying this makes Sword and Shield from like a borderline bad Pokemon game into one of the best Pokemon games ever to be released. And I'm sorry, it's just not the case. It makes Pokemon Sword and Shield race from like the bottom of the good Pokemon games list to like maybe nearer to the middle, probably. It's not revolutionary. It's a nice addition. It's DLC. It's exactly what an expansion pack should be. It doesn't impact how good the base game is. And people don't like me saying that, probably. Because people feel personally attacked when I say that. Because they like it and I don't like it as much as... I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like the DLC. I like the idea. I like the fact that we got 2 new wild areas. Probably like smaller than the in-game wild area. But put together, they're probably going to be as large, if not larger, I imagine, than the actual wild area. Especially since there has to be 200 or so Pokemon in there, and that's a lot of Pokemon to put in a small area, so it's gonna be a somewhat big area. Other than that, the pretty good DLCs. As far as DLC goes, I think this is exactly... And the fact that there's story elements with it as well, I think it's exactly what a DLC should be. So work the ability to change the last Pokemon on your team and give him a different Pokemon name. Sound like... Oh my god, that's even worse. Crown Thundra, we're getting a new Celebi. Whoa. I don't remember anything about a new Celebi. What are you referring to? I am way more hyped about the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon remakes though. Nobody's fucking talking about those. Those look dope as fuck. Oh yeah, and there's also new clothes. I've never cared about customization in Pokemon games. I mean, it was neat when it was introduced in Gen 6. And then in Ruby Alpha Sapphire, it just like kind of scrapped the idea. Because obviously the original games didn't have it. And then it came back in Gen 7 and I didn't care about it either. And now it's back in Gen 8 and I don't care about it either. I don't care about trainer customization in Pokemon. I'm very sorry. I just don't. What did I miss about Celebi? I'm going to Cerebi to see about this Celebi nonsense. What is this Celebi shit? Cerebi.net. What did I miss? Are you like hardcore trolling me or Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I can't find it that quickly, and I think we should just keep going with the game. Yeah, no, definitely. DX does seem very nice. I adore the art style. The art style is fucking amazing. And they need to move on to Explorers of Sky, remake that in the exact same style as well. I imagine they will. On one condition. This game needs to sell well. I do, at this moment in time, not own a Nintendo Switch. Anybody who's listening to this that owns a Nintendo Switch, get that game. I need to have the sales figures for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or Rescue Team or whatever, the new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon remake, to be through the fucking roof, so that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak are like, we need to keep at these remakes. And then they remake Explorers of Sky, and it goes from an actual 10 out of 10 to an 11 out of 10, because the art style is so... It's I didn't think there would be anything that would be better for those games than the pixel art style they've always been. Seeing this, this like pop-up storybook art style, it's better. It's so much better. I need it. I need it in my life. New Celebi is the Crown Thundra. Psychic and Celebi is a grass type, so new Celebi. Oh, that's what you mean. I thought there was going to be a Galarian Celebi, because there's a Galarian forms for the legendary birds. And there's going to be new Regis, which... We talked about that literally like a day before the announcement on stream. We talked about, what if there were new Regis? And I was like, there's not going to be new Regis. It's been so long. And then they announced new Regis. Well, they didn't announce it. They showed. We still don't know what they're called. They could, theoretically speaking, be Galarian forms of existing Regis. I very much doubt it. I think they're new Regis. They look like they look like a Regi Sky and a Regi Dragon to me. Yeah, Regi Air and Regi Dragon, exactly. That's what they look like to me. It doesn't seem... The Regi Dragon could very far away be a Regi Rock Galarian form, but that seems unlikely. At that point, just making... I mean, it's a new Pokemon either way, because that's regional forms are separate Pokemon with just the same basic design. And the same Pokédex number, I guess. But just... It's gonna be new Regis, and there's gonna be 2 of them, apparently, so far we've seen. I'm willing to bet there's a 3rd. I'm willing to bet there is a 3rd. Either that, or these are on like the tier of Regigigas. And you have like 3 normal Regis and then 3 like... I don't know, probably not. Probably not the case. There's probably just going to be like 5 Regis and then Regigigas as like their boss. That's kind of like Regigigas' like goal, right? To be the boss and the counterbalance to the Regis from a lore perspective. Galarian Slowpoke I actually didn't mind. I actually like it. It took like 50 minutes after it being released for somebody to get a first shiny Galarian Slowpoke, though. Which just shows you how... I mean, yeah, the dude got very lucky, granted. And there's a lot of people that were probably like hunting for it, so... somebody was going to get lucky. But getting shinies in Sword and Shield apparently is just even easier than it was in Gen 6 and 7. And even in Gen 6 and 7, it was made easier from Gen 5 and before. So, I don't know. Shinies have kind of like lost their interest to me. They weren't ever very interesting to me, to be honest, but even the little interest I had in Shinies just absolutely disappears. And now we have Super Shinies, which don't have like stars when you send them out, but they have squares, just because they knew Shinies were too common, so they needed to make something new rare. But rather than making a different color palette, like a 3rd option color palette, they just changed the particles, which is just lazy. I don't know. Hello, Holy Roman Empire. You are a little, like, unfortunate with your timing because we're about to end off this stream. Well, hello and welcome nonetheless. How are you doing? I mean, Red Gyarados and Shiny Haxorus and, like, Shiny Gibble and Dratini and, like, all the gifts or, like, pre-programmed Shinies, I don't really count those. I mean, yeah, I've gotten a lot of Red Gyarados. I had the Shiny Haxorus at some point. I had the Shiny, I think, Dratini. But either way, both Dragonite Shiny and Garchomp Shiny suck ass. So I don't really care. And there's like one more Shiny I had, which was pre-programmed somewhere. I think I got like an event Shiny Arceus? Maybe? I don't know. Something like that. But other than that, I also, on Omega Ruby, have like 3 Shinies. Which I actually like hunted for. And then I just like... This is taking way too much time and it's very tedious. So I don't want to do this anymore. Now the problem with Reggie, Drake and Reggie Souls is the elements. Iron, ice, rock are all things that were man-shapen. Well, no. No. I mean, iron in its refined metallic form. Yeah. But rocks, people didn't make rocks. And ice just happens when water gets cold. So, I get your point. The Reggies were golems made by human beings, right? So, there being an electric type I can even see. Because humanity... Obviously electricity exists in nature. Just in your own brain it exists. Lightning strikes exist. But we have like massive electricity, more or less, as human beings. We can generate it, we can direct it, we can do pretty much whatever the fuck we please with it. So, from it's made by humans perspective, I can see an electric type. Dragon type, I fully agree though. That is a like mythological nature kind of thing, and it doesn't really fit with the Reggies. I've got a nice shiny collection in Sword and Shield. Thievul, I don't know. Isn't he yellow shiny? I think that's yellow, right? Quagsire becomes pink. I don't like pink legendaries other than Celebi. But Celebi is more brownish, really, so it doesn't really count in my opinion. Umbreon, I like shiny Umbreon because it doesn't change much, but I like it. Machamp also becomes green, I think. Oh no, wait a second. Quagsire becomes pink. Pink and green shinies I usually don't like. Swoobat, I don't know what Swoobat becomes, but I feel like it might be green. Glalie, doesn't that just change the eye colors to a red or something? And Skuntank, I have no idea what it becomes. A Dynamax Regigigas would be wild. The thing with Dynamaxing is that all the Pokemon, especially in Sword and Shield, compared to like the 3DS games, the Pokemon all already seem like they are more of the same size than they were before. But when they Dynamax, they don't increase by multiplication. They just all grow to roughly the same size. Then you have Gigantamaxed Pokemon, which usually are a little bit bigger. But most just normal Dynamax Pokemon are just pretty much all similar sizes. Which is a little bit sad. Dynamax Rayquaza. Dynamax Mega Rayquaza. I know it's not possible because that combines 2 mechanics in one game that don't exist in one game. But I dig it. Electricity, water, fire would have been a nice Reggie trio. Energy generating trio. I feel like for a separate trio that would have been a nice one. Like the energy trio we could call them. The whole point about the Reggies is that they are like Baltoy and Claydol and they're man-made, right? They are golems. And golems are man-made objects which were infused with life using some kind of magic. So I feel like they need to be naturally occurring elements shaped into a body for it to be a good fit for Reggies, and that's why I think electricity or maybe air, but now that you say electricity, it looks more like an electric type. Makes a little bit more sense. But Dragon just makes no sense at all in that perspective. But I think that we're going to end things off here because any moment now the new Pokemon Showdown scoreboard video will go up. And we've been 2 hours. I mean, it's over 2 hours at this point. We've made it to Veilstone City. I might do a little bit of grinding off screen between this stream and the next. I don't know when the next stream will be. It will probably be someday throughout the next week. Maybe next weekend. Maybe it'll be... It depends on how work goes. I never know how busy I am until I start a day. So I can't plan for when I have time and energy for a stream. But it probably won't be tomorrow, I'm assuming. But some other day next week, I'll probably be able to stream again. And if not, there's always the weekends, obviously. So next time we're going to be able to take on Maylene and hopefully crush a Wake as well. And then move on. We're going to have to make a little bit of haste because I want to finish this run obviously before the end of January. And we're already halfway through. That being said, we're about halfway through the gym as well. So we might just be in luck. Yeah, do feel free to send me a message about that video problem thing you're having. I'll be glad to see if I can help you in any way. See you next time. Bye-bye.